Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone, I am Ainun Kalila and today I have the pleasure of presenting a teaching module titled The Merdeka English Playbook, a practical blueprint for PhD curriculum implementation and classroom execution. This module is specifically designed for PhD grade 8 with communicative language teaching and task-based learning as its core pedagogical framework, all within the structure of the Merdeka curriculum. Okay, before we discuss strategies, it is essential to first understand why and how English is positional for grade 8 students. This model is built upon two foundational pillars. The first is local identity, equipping students to express their everyday realities in English. The second is global perspectives, building global competence and critical thinking skill. To achieve both, three texts are selected in a deliberate scaffolded sequence. First is descriptive text to describe people, places, and objects. Second, recount text to narrate past experience. And third, procedure text to give instruction in sequential order. Each text type builds upon the previous one. Next. Okay, with those two solutions in place, the module is structured across a 12-week progression architecture, carefully sequenced and progressive. Weeks 1 through 6 focus on descriptive text. In weeks 1 and 2, the mode is receptive. Students read text and identify main ideas. In weeks 3 and 4, the mode becomes interactive. Students describe pictures and practice guided speaking. By weeks 5 and 6, they enter the productive stage through drafting, peer review, and guided writing. Weeks 7 through 10 shift to recount text. Weeks 7 and 8 blend receptive, interactive modes and students listen on retail past experience. Weeks 9 and 10 are productive, focusing on story mapping and the use of chronological connectors. Finally, weeks 11 and 12 from the applied stage for procedure text, reading, procedure, sequencing activities, and delivering oral presentation. Okay, from a cognitive standpoint, this model ensures that students do not simply memorize language; they genuinely climb a cognitive ladder step by step. And it begins with comprehension, identifying main ideas in descriptive and recount text, then application describing people, places, or objects using appropriate vocabulary, followed by analysis and application, retelling past experience using simple spoken language, moving into synthesis, construction short written text with appropriate organizational structure. And finally, evaluation and creation, presenting information orally in a clear and comprehensible manner. This cognitive staircase aligns directly with the principles of Bloom's taxonomy, which serve as the backbone of modern curriculum design, including the Merdeka curriculum. Next. Theoretically, this module rests on three pedagogical layers that complement each other, from abstract theory all the way down to concrete classroom action. The first layer is the approach of the theoretical blueprint, which uses communicative language teaching, or CLT. Here, language is viewed as a social communicative tool, and the teacher serves as a facilitator of authentic communication. The second layer is the method, or the instructional system, which uses problem-based learning. The teacher acts as a designer of authentic problems and a guide for student investigation. The third layer is the technique, or classroom mechanics, which uses sentence scrambling and story mapping as direct activities. The teacher becomes a logic guide and scaffolding resource for students. Next. Now let us walk through a concrete lesson. The lesson is titled My Past Experience. The time allocation is 2 teaching periods or 80 minutes. The text type is recount text, and the pedagogical engine is a combination of PBL, CLT, and the genre-based approach. There are 3 core learning objectives. First is students can sequence events using chronological time connectors. Second, students can write a coherent 6 to 8 sentence personal recount text. And third, students can present their story orally with confidence and clarity. Next, the lesson opens with step 1, the diagnostic hook, and the teacher poses light, familiar triggers questions such as, what did you do last weekend, or did anything interesting happen? This question serves a dual purpose. They spark student interest while simultaneously mapping prior knowledge. The diagnostic goal is to listen or for whether students can already use the simple past tense phrase like I went or I played without formal grading. This gives the teacher an immediate actionable insight whether vocabulary scaffolding needs to be provided before writing begins. Okay, the next step is step 2, collaborative sequencing. Students are divided into groups 4 and 5 and they are given an authentic problem sentence from a holiday story have been scrambled or have harder their students' worksheet. Their task is negotiate meaning, identify chronological connectors such as first, then after that, and finally, and collaboratively rewrite the paragraph in the correct sequence. They single activity simultaneously develop three capacities: logical thinking, group communication, and awareness of textual cohesion all at once. Next, after grasping text structure through collaborative sequencing, students move into step, the story map, the primary scaffolding tool for independent writing. The story map guides students through a series of structured questions like who to identify characters, when to establish the timeline, where to set the scene, what happened to sequence the core events, and how did it end. To express the reorientation and personal feeling, this scaffolding is intentionally designed to prevent cognitive overload and eliminate the fear of a blank page. Throughout this phase, the teacher acts as a roving eye editor, moving around the room to provide on-the-spot linguistic resources, particularly simple past tense vocabulary. Next is on the story map is complete, students transition to step 4, independent drafting. Each student writes their own personal context of 6 to 8 sentences. The focus now shifts to grammar application, writing mechanics, and the development of individual voice. Then 2 or 3 students proceed to step 5, the public forum, presenting their stories orally to the entire class. This is the critical moments that transform writing from a private exercise to the teacher into a genuine communicative act for real students. The lesson closes with the reflective question, like what was the most challenging part to meaningfully close the learning loop. Next, all of this learning is supported by a continuous assessment ecosystem, 3 interconnected gears that keep instructional cycle running. Diagnosis at entry, it proposed to map students' readiness through unscored oral trivial question formative during the process. It's proposed to guide the learning journey through group observation, peer feedback, and worksheet checks. And summative, it exists. Its proposed is to measure the learning outcome authentically through performance-based rubrics for both writing and speaking. Next, as a closing synthesis, this module consolidates 3 elements that must coexist in every effective teaching practice under the Merdeka curriculum. First is pedagogical agility, the ability to adapt CLT and CBLT to heterogeneous classrooms. Second is integrated efficiency, using multimodal text to make the most of the 4 teaching periods per week. Third is constructive assessment, building continuous loops of diagnostic, formative, and summative feedback. All 3 converge as a single point. Combative competence, the ultimate goal of this entire process, because at its core, language is not a formula to be memorized but a tool to be used. Pace that equips students to tell their own stories to the world. Thank you for your attention. I welcome any question or feedback. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.